Chair is killing my left arm. All right, late night Cappy. Here we go. Aaron, I'm a young man in a nicest town. You're in about the nicest town you can be that isn't the West. I'll say that. Tennessee is pretty good, but you're not in Tennessee. You're along the Mississippi River. I've worked in a field for a certain number of years now. I have a bachelor's of science in the field and a master's of science in the field from Western Governors University and a handful of other certifications. I do a thing on the side that comes to $1,000 a month. My employer is paying me to add accounting from Western Governors University as long as I can finish the lots of courses I have left in 6 months. And I said, that many courses? Or do you mean credits? He said, no, courses. And I said, are you crazy? You can't finish that many courses in 6 months, even though Western Governors University does allow you to take as many courses as you want. And you said unto me, I have a lot of free time at my job, and you have knocked out 2 since the term started on the 1st. So in 8 days, you knocked out 2 courses, which I'll be perfectly honest, I don't believe the courses are dumbed down or watered down. I think that colleges and universities just stretch it out so damn long that it's not necessary. If you're just allowed to study, pass the test, get things done, boom, absolutely. School goes at the speed of the slowest moron, the weakest link. So I think, okay, if you think you can do it, that is how long the other programs took me. So I think it's doable. Then I plan to learn tax as a self-employment is very difficult to swing in my field. I own property here that I live in. You don't pay all that much in rent net because you rent a room to a buddy. The house has been listed for a certain amount of time with no offers. I do not like the weather here at time, but the silver lining is this is a very geographically unique and scenic area for the not west, and that is true. There's decent hiking nearby if you're ever down this way. I'm very familiar with that area. I read your books, Reconnaissance Man and Zero World Problems. I have visited all over 48 states and used your must-visit list to navigate the West. I unfortunately bought the house before reading the book. I like the idea of keeping the house since it won't sell and then setting up shop in either an apartment or Airbnb for winters. I was thinking Vegas, given its centrality to the coolest stuff in America, all within 4 hours distance. I would like a video on logistical considerations, suggestions, and philosophy that go into starting and maintaining a Southern command like you and Elkham's. Well, Elkham's just moved in with his girlfriend and became a house cat. That's what he did. So let's talk about the logistical considerations. So the first thing is that you are getting a remote and self-employed job through accounting. That's why I link below. You'll find the course, The World's Greatest Accounting Career. You've read Reconnaissance Man. That's good. Which should answer a lot of your questions that you have, but step 1, you got to travel, which is what you're doing and you have done. I'm talking to everybody else who will benefit from this request. So first, you got to figure out where you want to live in the United States or your country. So you should explore it before buying a house and settling down and all that other stuff. The next thing you got to do is get a remote or invaluable skill like, oh my, like doctors don't worry about finding jobs. I want to live in this town. I'm going to become a doctor there, and you can. But for us mere mortals who can't stand the sight of blood, accounting is a pretty good profession. There are others. I'm not saying that's the only one. It's the one I'm familiar with, as is Chad Elkins, CPA. And that's why we have the course linked below, the world's greatest accounting career. And you've chosen accounting. You're going to Western Governors University. You're going down that route. So that's step 2. It will be a while before you can work on your own. There's the employed agent route, which I hope you're taking. If you don't, you may really want to look and pay the money for that course, because you don't necessarily have to go to school, though the accounting degree is not going to hurt you. I would like a video on logistical considerations, suggestions, and philosophy of going, starting and maintaining a Southern command like you and Elkins have done. All right. So let's say you've reconnoitered. You found out where you want to go. You want to go to Vegas. And I'm going to fast forward where you have become self-employed, either becoming an enrolled agent. Please look into that. I'm not saying you're wasting your time at Western Governors. Your accounting degree will help. But you have found a way to either find employment in the town you would like to live, or you are self-employed and have worked up a business. Now, in your individual case, you're only going to go down there for winter, it looks like, and come back up for summer. And I think measured small bits with incrementally longer bits of time in the area you think you want to be before you sign yourself a lease or buy a house or anything serious. I like the idea. So I guess my question to you, can you keep your IT job and work remote? Or because you're saying I'd like to set up shop, either an apartment or Airbnb for winters. Oh, you like something more permanent. So something that's down there. I see what you're saying. Something permanent. So this presumes you don't have your current job. You are self-employed and remotely employed. You can be a digital nomad. All right. What I would do, because this is going to be a ways before you can quit your job, your daytime job in your current field, and go down there. What I would do is, yes, for now, just avoid winters. Become a snowbird. Go down there, scope out the area in Vegas, get yourself an Airbnb. I'm going to recommend on the north side of Vegas, not the immediate north side, but the far north side, something along the 215 bypass on the north side, because you could just hook up right to the interstate, shoot off to Utah. Utah's going to be the prettiest option out of the valley for your hiking and all that. So that's one thing I would do. There, that's what I look like. I look like I was blue. So, and I would just go down there with the backpack, just very little, laptop, whatever you need, stay in Airbnb, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy, it just has to be safe and clean, and enjoy Vegas for winter. I recommend going between December and March, December and February, then go back up to your cold northern shithole. And keep in mind, you're still in the exploratory phase. You're not committed on Vegas just yet, but you want to become familiar with the area. One, confirm that you do like it. Two, make sure there isn't something better you like say maybe St. George, Utah, or maybe you like Boulder City or whatever else. But if your first winter goes well and you really like the place, okay, now you spent 3 months there. Now you should have a pretty good idea where you want to live in that town. And if that's the case, I would, it depends on, if you're like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever, you may even want to contact a realtor at that moment in time. And then start looking for a house. The issue, though, is if things go really well, you're going to have to get rid of your current house. So, hell, I'm getting ahead of myself. Go down there for one winter. Check it out. Go back home. If you're convinced you want to live in Vegas or wherever it is you reconnoiter and you spend a little bit of time, like, no, this is where I want to go. It's probably best in your case. This is just me, to get rid of your house. And then I'd be in Vegas and then I'd summer up where you are, is what I would truthfully do, because you need residency in Vegas to get no state income taxes. You might also have family where you live, so you could just crash with them during summer and visit them, but that would be the ideal situation that I would move towards, but it's not as easy to buy a house and sell a house. But it so there's gonna be a couple years, a couple winters, things like that. But one, go down once you get okay, God, fucking Christ, is more complicated than I thought. You get the degree, you get your certification, you're still working your job, you work money on the side, and then you get enough of a clientele base that you can go mobile as an accountant. Spend one winter down there and don't give up. You still got your northern command, and that's your main base. Go down for one winter, explore Vegas. You find out you like it. Okay, cool. Now it's up to you. Let's say you've rented out your place and your roommates take care of the place. You don't have to worry about it at the Northern Command. Cool. Now you got a place to go and spend during summers. And you could keep snowbirding down in Las Vegas just for winters. And that's a pretty good scenario, but you do have to pay the income taxes in the state you're in. A better scenario would be you go down to Vegas 6 months and 1 day so that and become a resident of Vegas. Maybe spend a little bit of time in Utah and Arizona so that you make sure it's more than 6 months, right? It's not half the year and then you got to pay taxes in your state you're in now. And if the rental property is good in the Northern Command and it's stable, okay, cool. Then that may be your final destination. Your 6 months in your current state, your 6 months plus a day or two or three where you are a majority spending your time. You become a citizen of Nevada, no state income taxes, and then you might want to think about buying a property down there. However, that's going to require that you have money. So, your solution to that intermediary is there are companies like UPS where you don't get a post office box, but you get an address and it's a legal address with a suite number, but it's a post box. Use that as your legal address. You get citizenship in Nevada, and then whatever, you rent an Airbnb down there for 6 years, but that rent is gonna get a little bit of expensive. In the year or 2 that you snowbird down there, however, you should maybe get a pretty good line on some affordable housing, if such a thing exists, maybe even a house you'd like to get, but for you to pull off a Northern Command and a Southern Command, keep in mind, I don't own the Southern Command. It's hard to do this as one person. My buddy owns it. I'm basically just the groundskeeper and I get free lodging. So admittedly, I have a very, very good and lucky deal. I don't know how you get that situation. It's luck, 100% luck. So it's almost a guarantee you're going to have to buy another another command in the South, which then I think is almost too much. Now you're managing two properties. And what I would do, especially if you have family at North that'll let you crash with them for free, I would inevitably migrate down to Nevada full time, sell your house in your current state, use the proceeds to buy a house in Las Vegas. And then you are a resident of Las Vegas. And then you summer, because it's hot in Vegas during summer, you summer up north. I think that's your best scenario, especially if family will let you live with them. And maybe your mom and dad would like that, right? You know, hey, can I spend summers with you? I inevitably want to move. But this is not going to happen. One, your education and training and building up a clientele to become a remotely employed accountant and self-employed on top of that, that's going to be 2 to 3 years. You could find a job down in Vegas, but now you got to go down there practically full time. And then the house you have in your current state is definitely going to be a remote rental, and that's going to be a pain in the ass. But the main thing to all this is you spending 3 months in Vegas, double checking, making sure that you like it. And if you do, then you're going to have to, and it's really a lot up to you. It's kind of your choice. If your rental property is great where you currently are, it's generating income. Okay, maybe you keep it. I've never seen that, especially, I had two rental properties at one time. They're only 30 miles apart. That was a pain in the ass. I can't imagine what it is, like whatever, 2,000, 1,500 miles apart from Vegas to where it is now. I'm just forecasting somewhere in the future you're going to have to get rid of that house to get a house in Vegas. And then Airbnb 3 months out of the year or live with your parents, summer up where you are, and then 9 months out of the year down in Vegas. That's what I would do. And then here's the other thing, over time, your house might sell, right? Um, in the ideal world, the stars would align. You get an offer on your house, you find this great house down in Vegas, you love it and all that. That's unlikely to happen. So while you're employed now, might as well stay there. Might as well hold on to the house, collect your rental income from your tenant, save up the money, get your certification in accounting, um, work on your side businesses, build up your business, and who knows, in the 2 years' time that that's gonna take, you might be able to sell your house. Sell your house, and by that time, you would have spent at least 1 winter down in Vegas, and now you have a much clearer idea of like, "Okay, this is what I do next." But right now, it's how you get there. It's gonna be timing, it's gonna be the housing market, it's gonna be how quickly you can get clients, but you're going the right direction. So, yeah, get certified. Yeah, get your enrolled agents or your CPA. You might not even have to make the jump to an accounting career where you currently are if you want to go the CPA route. Or maybe your current employer will pay you more if you get your degree. Okay, just keep making your money. It's not nothing wrong with working where you are now, making your money. And then once you think you got enough money and okay, maybe even a down payment on a house, and you have built up your side business and you could go support yourself in Vegas and you don't need that job where you currently are now, that's the time to snowbird 2 to 3 years from now. And by that time, who knows? Your house might sell. You might find a house in Las Vegas. Those are things I cannot predict, but you're going down the right path. You're doing all the logistical stuff you need to do, which is getting a skill that's remote and self-employed, and you're gonna have to build up a customer base, but that's gonna take some time. And in the meantime, I think your housing situation will, you're paying down your mortgage. Housing prices generally go up because we keep printing off more money. And I think you would probably be able to sell your place in that time. Um, so what is it? We're coming up. It's fall. Yeah. See what spring looks like. See if you could sell your place. And then I talked to your parents. I presume they live in that area. See if you can't crash with them. Ba, 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 ba. If you could mention any weatherization, security, leak alarms, etc., you do when you leave in the fall, that'd be great too. Oh yeah, I got a list, man. I got a list. Um, all right. Well, if you have tenants, then you don't have to really worry too much about weatherization because they're there. The things you can do, one, I would turn off the water heater, the electric and gas supply to it. Just turn it off, and also turn off the water. I would then winterize your pipes, which you can do by you drain your pipes. Some people put coolant in there. There's plumbers that'll do it professionally. You can look up how to do it. But the main thing is you don't want your pipes frozen in winter. And so shutting off your water main while keeping the heat on at around, 60 degrees, 65. Um, that that's a way to prevent flooding, and your water heater isn't running, but there's no water in the pipes. You flush all the toilets, you drain out so nothing's going to freeze. So that's one. You may even want to shut off the water from the street, which there should be a little T-like hole that you can shut the water main off from the street as an abundance of caution. And you might as well if no one's going to be there. Between now and winter, even if you're not going to be there, you know what? I'd be caulking the hell out of that house. I'd make sure that house is as insulated as possible during wintertime. So I maybe go pay for an energy inspection where they do the thermal reading. Like, yeah, here's where you're losing all the heat. Insulate the roof if you have to, or the attic and ceiling. Security. You could get the boop boop beep beep alarm. I mean, God Almighty, you got all the security options in the world: motion detectors, cameras, alarms. Um, I kind of got all the above. I even have tripwires. I do not fuck around. And if you have the great one who can watch over your house with a weapon, that's great. If you get a house sitter, um, you can have leak alarms. They're like little pucks that you put down where there's water, like behind the toilet or anywhere there's, plumbing. And so when the water hits that, that'll go off and you got to get an app and let it know. But if you shut off your water main, you don't have to really worry about that. What else do I do? If you're going to leave vehicles there, and they're carbureted, you don't have a motorcycle, I'm going to assume, so you don't have to worry about that. You could put your vehicles on a trickle charger, make sure the battery does all right. I've not had that problem. I just let them die. I put the trickle charger on them, but I also all have standard transmissions. So I just push start my cars, fire them up, let them run, and then over the course of the next week, they fully recharge. But you could get yourself a trickle charger too. But the security, yeah, you could get a full blown security system. You can get security cameras. You could get motion detectors and door detectors and window detectors. The best thing is to have a tenant or a house sitter. So if you have a friend that you really trust and they watch over the place, that's the best. And then if you got a safety deposit box, whatever valuables you have, like a gun or some silver or whatever, put that in the safety deposit box when you go. I don't have a lot of fancy shit, frankly. You put that in a safety deposit box. You know what? I'm gonna go look at my. I actually have it up on my fridge. Hang on. This will be a bit. Okay. I consulted my master list, a lot of which is kind of unique to my place. So here's a couple things that I haven't listed yet. If you have any engines you want to put stable in it or seafoam, run it through the engines. That's it. You want to recharge or replace your batteries, motion detector, smoke detector. If it isn't hardwired, you will want a thermometer for the basement that is wireless and hooks up to your phone. So if it and set an alarm that if it drops to like say, you don't want to drop it to 32 where it's going to start freezing. You want it to set the alarm like, hey, drop to 50, your furnace is out. And then you also want to check your mailbox or have your mail delayed or postponed. Um, and that's basically it. That's kind of all I do with my house. I got other things like, motorcycle. I run stable through it and then I shut off the gas tank and I run the rest of the stuff through the fuel line. But that's not germane to you. Uh, but yeah, and then there's things that are probably specific to your house that I'm not aware of that you should probably do, but think of every possible thing that could go wrong and prevent it or make it so that it ain't gonna happen. Again, the best way is to have a tenant there, and then hopefully you have family nearby that might be able to help you take care of it. But this is the problem having, like when I leave the Southern Command, my buddy comes back, right? So there's always a human there. When I leave here, the great one is here, polishing his gun, excited if anyone comes for a visit. So if you can have someone there, ideally a tenant, and down south, you might have to get a house sitter. Although for a small fee, I'll watch your house if I'm there and you're not. But um, by that point, because you don't have the lucky situation I do, I would probably sell your house in your northern command. In other words, I would not have a northern command. My southern command would be my command, and then I'd Airbnb up north or live with the folks. That's what I would do. But yeah, let's kind of go over the steps here because it's going to be over some time. First, you got to get your accounting certifications. Second, you got to get yourself a client base, a client list. Third, you then have to quit your job to go south for one winter to check out Vegas and confirm. Assuming you confirm this is the place you want to go, then you have the debate: do you keep the house where you currently are and rent it out while you're gone? Or do you get rid of it? I think it's easiest just to get rid of it, take the proceeds from the house, buy the house down in Vegas. That's what I would recommend. So you buying the place where you are now, it wasn't necessarily a mistake because you've built up equity over this time and it will help you get into a house that in a place you really want to be. That I think would be the easiest. But this will be at least 2 years away and 3 years away. And I think the market, whatever you're trying to list your house for, um, I think you'll get it. In the meantime, whether you to decide to keep the house where you are now or not, it would be the time to do all the fixings and get it up and running, whatever repairs need to be made, insulate the hell out of it, make sure it's very energy efficient, um, put in all the security and the safety features that you want, because not only will that allow you to go down to the Southern Command, it'll increase the value of the house, um, and allow you to increase your chances of selling it. So that's it. That's all I got. Let's go to the super chats. Faust, 10 Polish zlotys. Aaron, give TFM link to your audio. Oh, God. I will. I will. Vic, $10. I like TFM. 10 euros. Sorry. Working turn based is also a good choice. We'll start my 7 a.m. shift shortly and we'll be done by 3 p.m. Pair that with travel work. Company will pay for all your expenses and you're set for life. Dre, $2. Cappy hates shortcuts because it's out of his reach. And Dre again for $2. Cappy left us like his black friends hanging in dead air. Huh? Oh my God, Dre, Jesus, really? Holy shit, man. By the way, Dre is black. Oh my God, Dre. Dude, and what's scary about Dre, he doesn't have a joke book. This is all coming out of his own mind, man. All right, I'm beat. I'm going to bed. Thanks for that one, Dre. If I get demonetized, I know it was you. I'll see you guys later. Toodles.